Hi everybody, I'm Lee Carroll. I am the original channel of Kryon.
You are surrounded by a bubble of benevolence. And this bubble of benevolence is interacting with the nodes and nulls of the planet. And the energy of the nulls, feel that energy pushing up through the bottom of your feet, traveling through your body, and as it moves, it is collecting every negative emotion that does not serve you, that does not honor the magnificence that you hold. And let the energy of those nulls carry this inappropriate energy and push them out through the top of your crown. It is going to push those energies to the nodes on the planet. And those nodes are so sacred, so powerful, that instantly upon contact, those negative energies that were within your Akash are now transmuted, burned up, cannot exist. Inside of you is the spark of divinity, and it is hooked to the field, and the field is biased in love, and you are surrounded by a bubble of benevolence. Perfect synchronicities are unfolding for you. Expect miracles in your life.
So it is good day to you, huh? So very good to see your love, your light, your brightness, your divine presence, dearest beings of light. As we've just experienced, if you were not here and listening to this future, in the future, then you don't know what we experienced, and therefore you need to come to a live event somewhere in time. Huh? We've just seen on the screen all the nodes and nulls and the matching of those power points on the planet. So you see, it is no accident that the vessel Marilyn and the Joy just came from Mount Ida, one of the power sites, the nodes of the planet, to bask in the crystalline waters of Lake Ouachita, to wash away anything that no longer serves. For you see, in these times, they are a changing, to quote some song somewhere. That changing effect is affecting everything on this planet. That is why we bring you to this sacred land here in Unity Village. This land itself was divinely chosen, yes, by Myrtle. She saw the vision, and her intention was to always, always be in joy, in perfect health, and in joy. That is why she built had the Fillmore Manor built with no kitchen, because she did not like to cook. It was separate from her joy. And we want you to know that is your birthright. Joy. That is indeed your experience, and why from the Pleiades you came here on this planet to radiate that joy. And anything that does not radiate joy within you is just to help you see the difference. Huh? You know, when you're not in your joy, you think, oh, I know what joy feels like, and it gives you a pathway to move back to it. And that pathway, breathe it in. Those sacred steps that you are taking to your joy is a powerful walkway. Our dearest Myrtle, who had the vision, she came through with the focus of being a child of God. Yes, I am a child of God, therefore I live in joy. Well, you are a child of God too. And you know, when you think of that, you know your parents here on this planet, the mother who gave birth to you and the father who fathered you. No matter how you feel about your parents these days, they are still your parents. Yay. Celebrate them, for they gifted you with life as God gifted you. So you have that same essence. You have that same DNA or whatever structure of your physical parents on this planet. And as they say, you are a child of God. So you have that same divinity within every cell of your body. Now think of that. Or better yet, feel that. And as you feel that divinity, that essence, then you say, I am here to be joy. I am here to be love. I am here to be the true essence of who I am. And then as you breathe into that essence, you feel that rippling effect that goes out to the planet. And as you have that rippling effect out to the planet, every human around you feels that same essence. And as you are simply living the light that you are, just moving about in your everyday world, those around you will want what you have, for they will sense it. Yes? They will feel it, and they will feel, what is different about this one? What is different about this one? They must know something that I don't know. And then you get to just smile. And as you just smile, that radiance flows forth from your essence out into your field, which touches their field. And they are reminded once again of the divinity that is within you and within them. Shift, and the world around you shifts. We've been saying that for many years here on this planet. That is the key. To know that that rippling, heart-centered divinity, breathe into it, that is in your core. It is a part of your lineage, dating back to the Pleiadians, dating back through God, or source if you prefer the term, is still you. So how can you be anything other than perfect? And all the little bumps along the way, they just add to your perfection, for they give you wonderful stories. And then you can share those wonderful stories. And when you share those wonderful stories, they help teach others to be the teacher that you are. And as you are that teacher, the universe has tapped you on the shoulder or the crown chakra and said, remember who you are. A child of God. The joy that we gave you at your birth is to be radiated throughout this planet. And we are thankful for your service. We are thankful for your presence. We are thankful for your love, your light, your tears, your fears, your joy. And for that, we love you intensely. And we bid you namaste. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. For those listening who didn't know it, those listening later, perhaps, who didn't hear it, Adiranda has spoken about your birthright. We have said this before in different words. We said it is your lineage. Indeed, your birthright and your lineage is that with free choice, with you cognizing more truth every day, you start to grasp a hold of what you've always had. A maturity of consciousness that starts to lift you out of the fear, the anxiety, of the hurt, of the worry that is so prevalent at the moment that this particular channeling is being given. I am so aware of who listens, and how many actually are there. Every one of you, dear ones, is known by God, all of you. Your names are known. Your past lives are known. How would it make you feel to know that the purpose of Earth and you, an alliance, is known, and that it lays there ready for you to say yes? Imagine that there is something larger that you're to do here. And to some it frightens them and say, well, I've got enough now and I'm worried about this and that. Don't confuse me with another assignment. What if all of this virus, would change not only history but you? This is not a bump along the way, dear ones. The virus is going to be a marker in history where everyone will remember what they were doing and what happened to them. Even the youngest of children will learn it from their parents. What happened to you? They'll say, during the virus, what we did with you to survive during the virus. I'll tell you something, it's in the field, and you'll think it's kind of funny. Already, this virus is going to create fashion changes. In the field, ladies, imagine buying a dress with a matching mask. And when you don't need the mask anymore, there's going to be a button for you to keep it. And it'll hang on you, just in case you need it, even after this is gone. A fashion statement, a remembrance of this time. This is in the field, not just being thought of, but in the works. And there will be so many who will purchase it for fun, and then they'll realize it's a fashion statement. You went through it and you made it. And you'd like to wear that dress. If you never put on the mask, it's still something that will be there and hang there, and people will remember the time of COVID. Let's talk about the time of COVID. What you don't understand is that there also will be celebrations of COVID. And you might say, Kryon, that's not something we can foresee. This is a major time of shift and release. History will show what has happened. And we mentioned that earlier. What will happen now, and to history what had happened, to so much of whether it's your media or whether it's your stores or whether it's your sales, your commercials or whatever, a change due to this time will occur. But the personal change, some of you in the future will look back and say, wow, without COVID, I would never have been released from this and from that, from this company, from this job, from this relationship, from thinking a certain way. Some will say, I got a release of spirit because of this. It sent me into a place of quietness. A place I would never go to, a place that's been known by the Hindus and the monks and the Buddhists for years and years. They've created these places so you could go and be alone and with yourself. Meditative centers, not necessarily what you have in your life, or necessarily for your culture, and you were forced into that spot where you started thinking about you. Your birthright is joy. Your birthright is happiness. Your birthright is being peaceful with your life, even in a busy society. And those who have received that will stand up and say, I never knew it was possible to be busy like this and yet so peaceful with everything that's occurring. It's a knowledge that goes beyond logic. A peace, they say, that passes understanding. A phrase you've heard before that means you really don't have the reason to be peaceful. That would be 3D. But oh, you do. It's an indication, a cognizing of who you are. The relationship that you have with the Creator, a child of God. So no matter what is assailing that which you call frustration, normalcy, whatever, you're still sleeping at night. Because every morning you can say, I will get through this and this or something better. And you're right. As time goes on, you will look backwards. And many of you, as I said, will say, because of COVID, I escaped. Because of COVID, there was a release. And it goes so deeply, dear ones. It's a release of the mud and the mire and the tar that you walk through called old energy, a realization of things you didn't have before. The release of inappropriate things in your life, alliances, friendships, partnerships that shouldn't be there. Because of your magnificence, because you've moved past them. Let me take you into a time, it's in the field, 2102, 100 years, and give a little more. 2102, 100 years and a little more. There will be a celebration. There may even be a holiday, honoring those who, they say, died in this particular time. But to you and your family and perhaps your heritage, it might be a celebration. A special kind of food will be prepared. Don't laugh. It'll probably be the food that you had to eat during COVID. There'll be a lot of frozen dinners. And you'll put on a mask. Just for a moment, and take pictures. And talk about the day when your family was released, or your lineage was released, or you found what you found. And it's a celebration. Can you imagine such a thing? Well, I want to tell you, this is in the field. Because that is what COVID is about. It's a release from the old energy ways that never would have been released without it. They've called it a reboot, which is, of course, a technical term which means come to zero and start over. And the coming to zero and starting over means that all of the old ways, the trainings, the habits, the ways of being, the paradigms, go away. And you come at the puzzle fresh and clean, with no encumbrances of what was there to keep you from changing. That is the release. That is the main thing that COVID has given you. Oh, Kryon, I can go there, but I cannot ignore those who died. There can't be a release when you think about the passing in advance, perhaps, of when they would have gone, of the elderly, of those who are missed so greatly, the sadness that was there. You don't understand. You don't understand. Oh, if I could put them together right now in this room for you, all those who've passed right now in this room, they would yell and they would cheer and they would laugh and they would throw confetti and blow up balloons and say to you, it isn't what you think, it isn't what you think, it isn't what you think. The only sadness is those who've left. There is no sadness for passing into the arms of God where you belong, where you meet the family again. You don't understand. That's a release. It's a different way of thinking indeed. It is a mature way, understanding way, knowingness inside that you are never alone and there is no death. All here will come back and continue the lineage of the old soul and the birthright of joy. And so it is.
It truly is an honor to be here, isn't it? I feel it all from you, that we're all deeply blessed, deeply privileged, deeply honored to be here. And instead of a meditation from me, I would like us to all participate in using our collective consciousness to send and transmit this energy of peace, benevolence, and awareness to the rest of the planet, so that we can put our prayers of peace, benevolence, compassion, love for one another as brothers and sisters into the soil of this earth, connecting to the energy grids of the earth, that it travels around through the earth, reaching every other human that is standing on the earth right now. If we can also place our intention of love, peace, and compassion through the winds that blow around us, and that these winds will travel far from this place, and they will touch other humans and let them know and experience they are divine. They are brothers and sisters to every other human on the planet. And let us also acknowledge that within the winds are potential water molecules, that through this area where we are, eventually there will be evaporation and water, and those clouds will move and travel to those who are in far, far away places from here. We are sending love and peace, compassionate energy. Many people are in trouble right now. They don't have peace. Let them feel the peace and tranquility that we have here in this moment. know that you are a transmitter and receiver. So as these prayers go around the world, through the earth, through the winds, into the field, know that it's coming back to you. Allow yourself to receive that so that it may amplify in your heart and generate even more. Generating that field. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the ones who have chosen to be here right now in this time of extreme shift as we collectively raise the consciousness of this beautiful planet, Mother Earth. Thank you all for joining these prayers.
And may we continue and expand deeper and further the energy that collectively, in unity, heart to heart, in perfect coherence with Gaia here, from the profound teachings Bertram Tavatsava so graciously shared with us of his ancestors, of his lineage, of all the villages that align with the constellations, with the stars, with our star family, with our star brothers and sisters. Let us open our hearts, our consciousness, our divinity and light even more as we literally now stand very close to Mother Earth. You may even lay your hands on Mother Earth and feel her nourishing you, sending you energy and love, filling you with its healing power. Feel that energy flowing throughout your body, throughout your every molecule, and expanding into your energy field, merging with her energy field, loving you unconditionally. There is no agenda, there is no judgment, there is no opinion, there is only love, a love that has no beginning and no end, a love that is always in a circle, always spiraling upwards, seeking to know itself even more, learning to love itself even more, sharing itself even more, moving to a higher dimension of expression of its love that comes from within you and all around you, just as Spirit, God, Creator of all that is, loves you so enormously, so unconditionally, that it only asks us to love ourselves even more, feel our hearts, soothe our hearts even more. How much more you allow yourself to love yourself in every moment of your day-to-day life will create the peacefulness, the synchronicities, the potentials, the beauty that awaits for you, the joy that comes to you through other relationships, through friends, through work, through family, through meeting other souls from other places on this beautiful planet. As we continue on this journey that has no beginning and no end, from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Even that, dear ones, is a metaphor. There's so much spirituality that is given to so many on this planet. profound things that mean other things, so that each can find their own message within it, for you're all so unique and so different. And yet there is one basic message. And before I give this, I sat in the valleys, the sacred ones of the Navajo, and I asked permission of the guardians of that canyon to give these spiritual messages. And now I sit on a mesa of the Hopi, and the Hopi, I will ask the same of their guardians. I sit beneath that which is called the Prophecy Rock. As our guide has mentioned, it's not the prophecy for the Hopi. It's the prophecy for all. And I ask permission to give this message from the guardians of this mesa and these lands. And the answer I receive even now is that I was expected. My message is to a far different group than the messages perhaps that would be given of the guide standing here. And this group that is worldwide needs to know these things and hear these things that are portrayed even on this rock. These are also the words that I gave you over 30 years ago. When I came to this planet in this fashion, in this way, with these messages, I told you something was coming. Now I'm going to ask the group in front of me to do something that those listening later cannot do. I'm going to ask them to look at the rock collectively. Shaped like a wagon, perhaps with 3 wheels. The first wheel representing the prophecy of World War I, the second one representing World War II, and the third one truly representing the prophecy that many of you have read all of your lives in your scriptures, World War III. It's all there for you to gaze at. But the line that has been scribed on the wagon, as the guide has called it, it is where you sit now. That is today. But I want you to see something. Where that third circle is, that World War III circle is after the line and at the split. Do you see the split going upwards and staying level? The split is the prophecy, the precession of the equinoxes, that which is called perhaps the change, the shift, that many have seen only as doom and gloom. The ones the prophecies have made to almost all the scriptures on the earth, including this one on the rock. Except this one echoes the other ancients of the Maya and the Lakota, and so many others who would sit and tell you, there is a choice coming. A choice. And that's what you see. The choice to go the way that you thought you were going, with the ways that you had developed yourself in a modern world, and another way, an ancient way, a way that has compassion for the earth, a way that aligns itself to the original ones who were here, the original ones that were here for thousands of years. A choice. And what I have been telling you now for all of these years, especially since 2012, is that this choice has actually been made. Things are starting to reveal themselves now. Truth is coming out. And with it comes the dirt as the light is shined upon it. And for the first time, the truths that have been buried start to emerge. And if you follow those truths, and if you then absorb the truths, that changes your consciousness. It changes what you will do next for you and your family. It changes the earth and what it will and will not accept. And right now, again, I'll say it again, this planet is seeing an old energy, another path, trying to take you with it. Another war is here. And all the old energy of that war is saying, come with us, let's have another world war. We're going to throw missiles or this or that. And dear ones, that isn't going to happen. Not like you think. Because there are so many on this planet, so many countries, so many consciousnesses that are starting to say, we don't want this again. Let this be the last one of its kind, where we see the last kinds of energies like this. And this is the blessing underneath this prophecy rock. If I had a message for the rock, for the ancients, for the guardians, I would say this. It's happening as you predicted. And we're going to take care of it. Because this planet is starting to see another way of being. And with that comes an enlightened posture, a magnificence of recognizing who the human being has come from. That inside each one of you is the creative source of the earth itself. There is an alliance of all things, O children from the stars. That's also what we teach. This is the time we predicted, and it's here. But there is also more than hope. You have also showed this rock that it was right. That there is a path of enlightenment, a return, even to what we would call common sense spirituality. Spirituality of the dirt, I would say. There are so many esoteric thinkers who believe they're going to be whisked away at any moment into the clouds in some kind of dimensional shift, and this is the ascension they expected. Dear ones, the ascension is a return to the planet. That's the ascension. And that's where you are. That's where we are. Kryon tells me right now, this was all expected, that I would sit here under this rock someday and say that to the rock, thank you. For those who created it in the way they did, and those today who interpret it the way they do, so we can hear the beginning of great truths and wisdom from so many of those who came before us, who have it to give. Now you know why I am in love with humanity. And so it is.
Well, before I begin, I want to say Yat E to all our guides, and I invite everyone here to show our appreciation for them opening their hearts and their land. This is your land that we are walking on, and we are privileged, we are blessed. We feel deeply, deeply honored that you have opened your heart and home to us. Thank you. Although tomorrow we return to wherever it is we came from, you are invited to take this with you. It doesn't have to be a distant past memory. The cells of your body know exactly what happened this week. It's in your cellular structure. That can never go away. When you love someone, it doesn't matter how far away on the other side of the earth they are, you are tethered to them. And so I invite you to feel your navel and a thread coming out, connecting into the energy of this place, so that no matter how far you travel away from Monument Valley, this tethering, this thread, this umbilical cord between you and Mother Earth knows exactly where you have been. And you can always connect by feeling in to that deep connection that you have with Mother Earth. And with that connection, I invite you now to close your eyes as we do one last inner journey with our spirit animal, our animal guide that came to us. And if you remember our last time that we were together, we stepped out onto a star-lit night and we looked up into the stars shining brightly above us. And as we look at the splendor and awe of those thousands of twinkling stars like diamonds shining above us in a blanket of sapphire, we are going to see our spirit animal making its way up towards the stars. And while we are tethered here on earth, our animal guide goes all the way up into the night sky. And we see this beautiful spirit animal traveling up into the Seven Sisters and weaving its way through those planets that make up that Pleiades constellation. And then we see this beautiful spirit animal that has come to us come down through that night sky very slowly, gracefully, making its way down to earth. And as we stand there looking at our spirit animal, we realize it is covered with this beautiful silvery dust. It is covered in stardust. And you ever so gently take your hand and run it through that stardust until a small amount collects in your hand, and then you're going to put that into your medicine bag that your animal guide is carrying for you. And with that connection, we recognize that we are from the earth, and yet we are also come from the stars.
In this star-earth connection, we open our hearts, we open our higher mind, a mind of God, even more. Take a breath. Just feel this space we are sitting at, around the bonfire, here at Navajo Sacred Land, with the guardians of this canyon, with the Navajo guides and their families, with all this region. Take a breath and let yourself sink in more into the beauty, the silent, the energy, the frequencies, the elements of nature, the sounds of the wood fire burning, the softness of the evening coming down, and as the stars soon will come out to greet us. Let your mind rest and open more your heart, your compassion, your kindness, your deep sense of peace, your inner sense of feeling of benevolence, of sacredness, of unconditional love that is always from within you, not from a God that is above you, God is not a being in the sky. God is a state of being. Allow this circle we are in to create that space of Godness, of benevolence, of sacredness. Feel you, extend you, love you, support you, remind you again of how special and how loved you are. What a magnificent being from the star you have come here on earth. Just let it soothe your heart. Let it soothe your soul. Let it soothe everything that you need soothing right now. In a few moments, after the Kryon channeling, you'll have the opportunity of releasing some things that have been etched in your mind or in your heart or in your field. So allow fully your being with your attention and intention and mindfulness. When you get to the fire, when you come close to it, thank it. Thank all those things that may have been difficult for you. And then release them. And then see a new vision, a new opening, a new potential, new synchronicities and opportunities come into your life. Breathe. There is no limit for how much you can open your heart, open your energy, open your multi-dimensionality in your life in every moment of the day. Even when you are washing the dishes or walking from one place in your house to another, preparing a meal, talking to a friend, taking your children to school, visiting your loved ones. It's always there. It's simply our attention in the moment that brings it forth. We recognize and cognize it more. So remember, it's not necessarily big advancements in going and learning certain studies or a school or new methods of healing and so forth. It's what you do in your everyday life. It's how you express yourself in every moment, in every situation. This is where the real light worker shines. With patience, with compassion, with its light shining everywhere you are. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the last message for this tour with these individuals before me. And in front of me there is a fire. This fire will be used later in a ceremony of release, commitment. And the message tonight, as this final message, is perhaps the most important one of the entire time. Usually I say I'm speaking to the group before me. But this group will know what I'm talking about. And so I'm speaking to all those who will listen later. And what I'll remind those listening later is you are hearing me in the now. It is your time with your ears. The first time you hear this message, perhaps from me, I see you there. There is no time where I am from, and I am from that which is multidimensional energy that knows your soul. That's who I am. But what I am right now is a messenger. And I'm going to entitle this message, The Missing Piece. It's interesting to look at what humanity has done with the idea of a modern God, of how they have structured it, what they have learned, and what the history has shown them. Finally, when there was an agreement, seemingly with all humanity somehow, that there was one monotheistic God, one God, they approached it very differently from many, many places on earth. I speak of what I would call modern religion, but there would be even those who would argue with the term religion. So let us say recent belief systems that have happened in the last 700 years. And they were so filled with compassion and love. Somehow, there was an acknowledgement across the land, across the planet, that this God that they would say was various names and had various attributes and various prophets, but it was always a loving God, or one who cared. And if you take it further, you're going to see the many things that they truly got right. That God was in your heart, or that which they would call God could be with you in certain ways. They got other things right, almost from the beginning, 600 years ago. One of the opening soirees, you might say, of modern religion or belief systems was the belief in past lives. Not all got that. They believed in energies that passed through the veil from lifetime after lifetime that made you who you are. They got that right. Some of them involved prophets, and almost all the prophets were wise and compassionate, filled with loving information. And almost none of those prophets ever wanted to be worshipped. They wanted to give information, or they wanted to show what regular human beings could do. And they were always filled with compassion. Some were elevated almost to ascension status as they walked on the planet and they healed people and changed physics to show what humans could do. Humans. But none of them, not one, had the piece that was missing. It's astonishing. Through these centuries, that almost all of them missed it. You know, humanity has been elevated. You haven't always wallowed in the darkness. There has been elevation. If you think about just in the last 200 or 300 years, that you now are on a planet that is a caring planet. It's more than it ever was before. Where even those who are in charge of your governments look to you and say, we'd like to have a system of compassion. A system where you don't have to go hungry, or perhaps you can go to a hospital and it will not wipe out your economic structure for the rest of your life. That's new, relatively. You'll not find that 100 years ago. The whole idea of human rights and the way you treat one another is new. So you see, there has been an elevation of that which you will call consciousness itself. And yet, in all of that elevation, there's a piece missing, and you never talk about it. Some will say, well, wait a minute, Kryon, I really don't think we've gone that far since the last 100 years or so. Let me give you, when's the last time you packed a picnic lunch for your children and went to the square to enjoy a beheading? And that's what you did. You have come a distance. But you would expect, would you not, that humanity, as it raises its consciousness, would at some point grasp the missing piece and go, how could we ever have not seen that? What do you think the missing piece is? I'll tell you. That which you call the earth is a living, sentient partner with your cellular structure. The land you sit and stand upon knows your name. My partner was with an indigenous in Peru, sitting at his feet along with others. Some were here today and are here today. And he reached down and picked up a sample of the soil, and he held it to his lips, and he tasted it, and then he put it down. And some asked him, Shaman, what was that? And he said, I'm in touch with my ancestors. Dust to dust. You've heard that, have you not? That all of the ancestors and all of the consciousness of the wisdom of them is in the dirt of the planet. And then someone who had that intellectual mind said, do you do it when you're in another country? And he said, of course. He said, because I am dealing with a multidimensional source called Gaia. And wherever I go, my ancestors and their wisdom are part of the field of Gaia. They're always there, and I touch them in the dirt as a reminder of who I am, who I will be, and who they were. It's hard for so many to understand that there is a partner in the earth. How many times have you ever taken a breath of fresh air and realized where it came from? It came from Gaia, directly from the living things that emanate oxygen. You'd be amazed at where most of that comes from. Not the trees, but the moss and the lichen. Have you ever walked through a rainforest and felt the oxygen rush and said, this is a great place? That's why. That exists, and the whole idea of a photosynthesis with the Gaia energy that will give you a life of oxygen should tell you what this is about. As you exhale, you feed Gaia so that they can have, again, more photosynthesis. This planet is not a thing, dear ones. It is a partner. And the indigenous knew it. They all knew it. There isn't one indigenous who doesn't honor the earth first, the directions, the magnetics, the ley lines, the grids. In other names and other systems that they have, all were metaphoric and related to their partner, which you sit upon now in their land. This is the missing piece. If there was a way to let everyone know who listens to this, that if we start studying this missing piece, something starts to happen. Let's go to the original teaching of this trip. Your soul is multidimensional. This planet has multidimensional grids. It has multidimensional pieces and parts. So much so, when my partner sat in Ireland, one of the meditating women who is known for her strong meditations would start it with this: "The rocks are breathing." And she wasn't kidding. This was life in all things. This was life in the air, and the rocks, and the dirt, and the trees, and all the things, a different kind of life that you would define. But life is not what you think. Is the earth something that you have to worship? No. What you do with the earth is you greet it as a partner. You request as a partner. You honor as a partner. It's not a thing. It's a partner. Before you go to bed this night, I challenge each of you, perhaps just to say a few words. Dear Spirit, I have no idea how to connect to this new thing that Kryon talks about. Truly a missing piece. It was not in my church. It was not anything I ever learned in my society, in my culture. It seemed like it was something for the ancients, and it seemed quaint. Now I'm finding out it's beautiful. It may even be needed. Dear Spirit, help me connect and show me what to do. And that is like somehow opening a floodgate. All you have to do is have intent to know more. And when that is given through your consciousness, that's when things start to happen. And that doesn't mean you're going to run to a place, take off your shoes, and run into the forest. It means that you're going to be more aware of the air you breathe, the love that comes from the earth that knows you. It knows you. It knew you before. It has known you all along. As an old soul, perhaps it's time to rekindle what you learned on lands such as these. It's all in there, in that shelf, in that library I told you about. Old soul, as you start reaching a more multidimensional energy that is you, you start to touch the aspects of your soul. And in that, again, a pathway that is multidimensional, going right to Gaia, who loves you dearly, as a partner. You are together in survival on the planet. The inventions to come, I've told you about, will honor Gaia because they will stop using the resources of the planet completely. And the things that are needed that Gaia wants to help you with in the growth of food will be tripled, sometimes quadrupled, because you finally know how. Without GMOs, without modern technology, but with activities that people had never thought of before. Or perhaps even using things as basic as light. There are things you don't know that are coming that will honor the planet and will explode because of it. Explode in a wonderful way, like a flower explodes when it blossoms and says, I love you, human being. Please find me someday and know who I am, because I've loved you for eons. This is the truth. The missing piece is at your feet. I am crying in love with all of you, and so it is.